drunk. I'm here to pick up my son. Considering that all I did today was clean, I had a pretty good Saturday. I wasn't feeling too good earlier. I had a major headache coming on, and I was like, oh, here I go again. Oh, I know why, because I woke up at 5 o'clock. My neighbor had a special guest over, I guess, and he or she, they parked right outside my bedroom window, and I heard the doors slam on the car. That's what woke me up. And I was like, great. And then I kind of struggled going back to sleep because my son didn't have to come in early today, which I'm really grateful for, you know. But when I was finally starting to fall back asleep, and I was sleeping really good again, kinda, once again, the engine started and the doors were slamming, and it was them leaving. And before I knew it, it was like 9 o'clock, and I'm like, great. I wanted to do some stuff this morning, and I thought I wasn't going to have time, but I did. I managed to clean half of the apartment in the morning, come drop off my son, went back, swept and mopped, and I was done. And I treated myself to some Wingstop. It was all right. I couldn't finish it. The fries were delicious. I got the Cajun fries. I love those. But I don't know. I couldn't finish it, and I was a little disappointed that I couldn't finish it because I was really hungry. But I've noticed that I have been eating less and less. And is that a good thing? I don't know. Let me turn this down a little bit more. That way I don't have to yell. I have no idea. But then I started watching YouTube, and I wanted to work on my bow. By the way, you all, I bought this ribbon, cow print ribbon, so that I can make a bow for my wreath to put outside to go with my mat. And by the way, the husband loves the mat. And it was very flimsy. So I'm like, oh man, I forgot I was supposed to get ribbon with a wire. That's how I do my bows, ribbon with a wire. And I saw a video where somebody suggested either cornstarch? No, not cornstarch. Spray starch, or guess what? Hairspray. And I'm like, hairspray? No way. And my son and his girlfriend came over, and the kids, and I was there in the kitchen. I was telling them, oh, I was already going to try that trick with a hairspray. And one of her friends actually suggested the same thing. She's like, just tell her to spray the hairspray on there, you know, put it on a towel, put a parchment paper on top, and then just iron it, and that should do the trick. So my son did it for me, and we did the best we could because I was already running out of hairspray. I'm not the type of person that wears hairspray. I have a hairspray bottle there that I've had for like probably over a year, but it doesn't hold very well. It's that Flexible Hold. I think it's by Redken. And I like it because I used to curl my hair, and then I would spray that spray, and the curls would be flexible. They wouldn't be all stiff, you know. Of course, after a couple of hours, they would fall, right? Because it wasn't like really sticky hairspray. But it would do the trick for the time that I needed it. Now, I don't even have to do that anymore. Now I use my, that brush that I have, the Lorange, whatever you want to call it, from Texas. And I use that to blow dry my hair and straighten it out. I don't even use a flat iron anymore. I love that. I don't have to use a flat iron. I don't have to use a blow dryer. Sometimes I'll go over it with a blow dryer really quick just to make sure it's dry, you know. But I just use that brush after I let my hair air dry, and then when I put it in a ponytail, I kind of like curl it up, you know, and like kind of like in a bun, in other words. And I leave it like that for a couple of hours. Sometimes even less. Sometimes even 1 hour will do it. And I take it off and boom, my hair is already curled. You know why? Because I have, what is it called? Wavy hair. It's not curly and it's not straight. So whenever I do straighten it out with that brush and I put it in a bun, it'll come out in a natural curl, and it looked like I actually used a curling iron or rollers or something, you know. Do people even use rollers anymore? I don't know. But it's pretty cool. I was considering buying that wand thing that they put over your head, and then you like have to curl it out and then leave it on your head overnight. I don't even have to do that. Like I said, all I have to do is use my scrunchie. I use a scrunchie and I put it in a bun for like an hour or two, and boom, I have curls, and they'll hold up. They hold up longer, and I don't have to put any spray. So yeah, it's been a while since I've used spray. But back to the ribbon. Yeah, if you use that, it'll actually stiffen the ribbon, and then you can make your bow and it'll stay. So I was like, oh my God, this is a wonderful trick. You know, who would have known? I didn't have to go spend more money on starch. I didn't have to like go buy a different kind of bow or, ribbon or yeah, ribbon. I thought I was going to have to like go make an extra expense and get burlap with a wire and then put that on top, which wouldn't look bad. It would actually look pretty cute. But then I decided, no, I have some pink ribbon there that's actually a little bit thicker that I'm going to try to put on top and see if I can just use that instead and see how it comes out. So hopefully it'll work out. If not, I don't know. I'll probably just go get the burlap. I don't know yet. I'm going to try it tonight to see how it works out. And you all, the moon is beautiful tonight. I'll show you all in a sec because there's somebody outside right now. I had to let my neighbor in. You know which neighbor. And she called me and she didn't know the code to come back in. Apparently they fixed the side door. I had no idea they fixed it. That's great. So now it locks. So now not anybody can just walk in like before. However, she couldn't remember the code to come in. I couldn't find where it was. It was going to take me forever. I said, I'll just go out there and let you in. And she's like, yes, please. You know, there was somebody at the gate trying to get in and they couldn't figure out the code. Well, it just so happens that somebody was leaving. And as that person left, they got in. And then they were walking around, you know, the small little complex that we have there. And they were looking for an apartment number because she asked him, she goes, who are you looking for? And then he said the apartment number. And then she goes, let me see. And he showed her the address and everything. And she's like, no, this is, 501. You're looking for 5529. That's next door. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, how do I get out? And she's like, the same way you got in. That was the exit. And he was like, oh, so I have to go out that way? And she's like, yeah. He could have gone out through the back, but she told him to come in through the front again. And so he got out, and we were talking about that. We were like, why do they force themselves in here? You know, if your code doesn't work to come in, obviously you're at the wrong place. You know? Look at the numbers on your delivery package. If they don't match the numbers where you're at, then you're at the wrong place. I don't understand. This is the second person that does that. But just like that lady that was coming up to my door, she said, I'm a nurse. Are you yada yada? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, isn't this, you know, the address? And she gave me the address and then the apartment number, B, you know. And I'm like, no, but I'm not her. And no, I don't know where that address is, but I'm not her. And she kept insisting that I was her. And I'm like, look, ma'am, if you want to go ahead and check me out, go ahead. But I'm telling you, I'm not her, and you're not going to bill my insurance either. Oh, the guy took off already. Let's see. I don't know. You'll see the moon. It looks so pretty. I mean, my glass is up right now. My window, I mean. Well, the window is glass. It looks really nice. So, I was watching, gosh, my hands are so dry. I was watching a video. Do you want to know, like, all these young kids, I don't know how old they are, but they're young. Then again, everybody's young to me. But I think they're like in their early 20s, you know, college years. All of these different kids, I call them kids because they are to me, right? I know they're young men. Going to Epstein's Island. They record themselves. Well, this last video, he went to Zorro Ranch. And I was like, no way. No way. The last person that went over there, you know, okay, Moon, watch how you talk. Tread lightly. There is a channel, okay, that I really, really liked. It dealt with a lot of paranormal stuff. Then that person made a different channel dealing with conspiracies, okay? I'm like, awesome. I love conspiracies. And then he kind of got political. It became all about bashing Trump and putting Trump on the island. And Trump being accused of the R word. And Trump being accused of murder. You know, and Trump. And I'm like, where are you getting all this information from? That has never been confirmed. That is not fact. And I started getting mad at this guy, okay? But all of the comments were like, oh, you're the best, and look at all the research you're doing, and bring him down, and yeah, let's bring Trump down, and he's this, he's that, he's a felon, he's a arist, and he's a urist, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, really? And then he's like, they're like, nobody but you is doing all this research. Thank you so much. Oh, and stay safe. There's always that one person. Stay safe. I don't want anybody to come after you or something to happen to you. Everybody keep him in prayer. And I'm just like, Then I see this video of this kid, way younger than him, that actually went on the ranch. This other channel, they went on the ranch, right? But they stayed a distance. And they used a drone to look around the ranch. Which, okay, I guess, props, I guess, you know. This kid, and I don't even know his name, y'all. This kid actually spent the night on the ranch without getting caught. You heard correctly. And I am worried about this kid. This kid needs prayer because he almost got caught. He and his friend, actually, they almost got caught. There was security around there and they had to hide. They had to use their night camera. They actually cooked a steak out there. I'm not kidding you. They cooked a steak and Brussels sprouts. It looked good, by the way. It was at Wagyu, whatever you call it. That, you know what I'm talking about. I feel so bad for those cows. I don't want to kill any cows. Why do we have to kill animals to eat? Okay, Moon, focus. And I was like, whoa, what? And then they woke up the next morning. He actually set foot on the steps of that ranch. They were looking around. They came across something that they were showing. And then they looked up and, ooh, there was a camera there. And he's like, we got to get out of here now. And so, of course, they start making their way out. And sure enough, they saw some security cars passing by. The security didn't see them. So they went a different route. They managed to get out of there and back to their car. And they took off. However, they showed the car. They showed their license plates. So I'm worried about them. I'm worried. Because the last video that I saw of another kid going on the island, he went twice, not once, twice. And by the way, both of them put a sign up that says release the files. twice. The other guy, he had somebody actually by the time he got back home, there was somebody out there waiting for him. Now, they did not approach him, but they were looking at him. They were watching him. That is something that's really troublesome. Okay, so maybe y'all are saying, well, maybe the other guy, the conspiracy guy that you're complaining about, maybe he did it the smart way. He used a drone. He didn't actually go there, so they can't look for him. Yeah, they can. He used a drone. He was maybe not on their property, but he was right across the property, and he used a drone. And I'm pretty sure that's still an invasion of privacy. So yeah, they can. But I don't know what these kids are doing not to get caught, but I am worried about them. I really am. I don't recommend that. Don't do that. Please don't do that anymore, you all, because what if you get that knock on the door, you know? You just, or maybe they won't even come after you because they're like, oh, they're a famous YouTuber. If something happens to them, people are going to figure it out. Just let them go. No harm, no foul, right? We'll just tighten security on the property. We'll make sure that it's not going to be that easy for anybody to get in there anymore. I think that would be the smarter thing to do. I do believe somebody bought that ranch. And he was like, I can't believe somebody bought this ranch. Like, why would anybody even buy this ranch after everything that happened there? Which is true. I agree. Okay? You people that like to pick fights with me. I agree with that. Why would anybody want that ranch when there were experiments on that ranch, when there's probably bodies on the ground on the ranch? You know, I agree. But then I started thinking, well, who would want to buy a house that belonged to a serial killer? A serial killer's grandmother, correction. Who would want to buy a house that belonged to a serial killer's grandmother? Jeffrey Dahmer's grandma. Somebody bought that house. Why? That house, there was actually murders that happened there too, in the basement. Why would you want that property? You know, I wouldn't want it. Hell no. But people do things for the weirdest reasons. I have no idea what they are. I'm not them. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're planning to do with a property or what they plan on turning it into. I have no idea. And neither do you. But it happens. It happens. I don't recommend it, but it happens, So when I was thinking about that and I actually said that out loud, guess what came up on my feed again? The girl that thinks that she has a connection with, I was going to say with Jeffrey Epstein, with Jeffrey Dahmer. That girl that she says, she was walking. I didn't even get to finish watching the video because that's when my son and the girlfriend came over. Or fiance, correction. They're getting married this October. Ow. The thing on my back, the little, should I even tell you all what it is? The clip from the brazier? Anyway, so, she was going to go down to where the Oxford apartments were, and it was during the day, and she said she was kind of scared because it is a bad neighborhood, and that she was, I need to go back and look at that part because, like I said, I got interrupted, which is fine. I can just go back and look at it. But she says, I know Jeff is with me because he always keeps me safe. I know it. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. I was barely starting to be like, okay, finally, she's going to, take a walk over there. And maybe she'll try to contact him or the victims or something, like, unlike the other channel. But, no, then she started her crap again about Jeff being with her and keeping her safe. And I'm like, look, as much as I'd hate to say this, Jeffrey, he did get saved before he was murdered. And I don't even know how to say this. I just remember a pastor that I still follow. I have nothing against him. But it was very hard for me to take in when he said this, okay? So brace yourselves. He says, even Jeffrey has been forgiven. When he asked for forgiveness from our Father, God will forgive him. So he may even be in heaven. Now, his consequence, because even though we ask for forgiveness, we still got to go through the consequences. His consequence was being in prison for life, and his consequence was also getting murdered, ironically, the same way he murdered his first victim, which I find, whoa, mind-blowing, right? But it is possible that he is in heaven. So, with that said, for her to say that Jeffrey is with her, keeping her safe, Jeffrey is with God. Jeffrey cannot keep you safe. He's not an angel. I can't even say if he's a spirit or not. I really can't, because I believe when we pass, our spirit either goes to heaven or it goes to hell. And that's where our spirit dwells. That depends on us. That's why I say, if you say you don't believe in God, it's a bunch of hocus pocus, Harry Potter, yada yada. Hey, it's your soul. That's why I always say that. It's your soul. I'm not going to try to convince you. I can only testify to you on why I believe in him. I think you should too, but it's your soul. And if you don't want to, you don't want to, right? But that's where you have a choice to make, and where your soul's going to dwell. And that's something that I wish I could say to her, but I'm going to get a whole bunch of hate over it, so I'd rather not. Gotta go, you all. Man, I started kind of late because I was vibing to some music, but thank you all for listening. You all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. It's been beautiful for me, wonderful, relaxing, even though I did a lot of housework, but I'm good. So I will talk to you all again soon. Love you all.